Hey friend, you are listening to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Brown. I'm a professional home organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created POC to empower you to reach new heights in your business. Through insightful interviews, expert guidance, and actionable strategies, we will equip you with the tools that you need to excel. This podcast is not just about tidying up spaces. It's about building a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. Whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just starting out, this podcast is for you. So let's do this. Welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. On today's episode, I have Laurie, who is a new member of the Pro Organizers coaching community. And Laurie got a 30-minute coaching call that is now here on the podcast for you to listen to because she joined the membership. And so Laurie has just gotten started. We were just talking before we hit record, and she just recently started doing her mom's closet and like friends and family. Now she's at the stage where she is going to be talking to someone about branding. Like she's at the very beginning stages. And so she came with a list of questions that we are going to answer for her, and hopefully it'll answer some questions that you have. And then on top of that, we're going to coach a little bit and see what maybe some next steps are for Miss Laurie. So thank you, Laurie, for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's start with actually the question that you were saying a minute ago you had. Let's just start there because I think that was a good question to start with.
Sure. Okay. So today it dawned on me in listening to several podcasts and just listening to some different organizers and things talk about the client agreements. When you go to the actual consultation and you have them sign the agreement, do you bring two copies of that, one for me and one for them? Or do they just sign it and I walk away with it? Because that doesn't really seem like the way it would work, but I haven't thought about it too much before.
So it's actually, I know of 3 different ways that you could do this. And of course, it's completely up to you what feels best for you. For me, I go and I just take my actual agreement. I have them sign it. And then I've had a couple people that have printers in their own home and they're like, hey, I'm going to make a copy of this real quick. And then I've had a few times that they're like, hey, at the session, can you bring me a copy of this back? And I'm like, absolutely. And then I run by like UPS and get a copy made real quick before I go back to the session. But that has literally, like out of hundreds of clients, maybe 7 times that someone's asked for a copy. The other option, some people do digital. So if you are doing a digital, obviously that's going to automatically send them a digital copy. I personally am still not of the digital age when it comes to the agreement because I like
me either.
Right. Because I like to sit down in front of them and talk, answer their questions. And it helps me go over each thing and make sure that I'm able to remember during the consultation when we sit down to talk that I've looked them in the eye and said all of these things and that I know they're comfortable and they don't have questions and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's really kind of 100% up to you. Or the third option would be what you said. If you want to bring 2 copies of each one and then sign both of them, they sign both of them. That way you can leave them with a copy. That's 100% up to you too. But you definitely want to make sure that you have a copy that you keep for your records for sure.
Okay, absolutely. My next question that I thought of was, so I've been reading online and stuff about all the organizers that go, they talk about bringing in containers and things for, say, a kitchen, things like that. But then everybody says you can't organize clearly till you declutter, which makes perfect sense. So I guess I'm hung up on the little details right now. I'm hanging myself up, but do I go in with a whole carload of boxes and containers and start measuring and pull out the ones that fit? Or do I say, okay, we're finished decluttering and now I can organize, but I got to measure and then go shop or have stuff delivered to your house. And then I got to come back again. Is that like a guaranteed second session? Or what if they want me to do it in 4 hours in and out and I'm done, but they also want containers? So like, how does all that play in?
Yeah. Okay. So actually, I just saw this today in a Facebook organizing group that I saw where someone had asked a very similar question. And I was curious what other people were going to say. And this person was coming to the point where every time I go and shop for a bunch of stuff, I get there, I only use part of it. Then I'm having to return all of these things every single time that I didn't use. And because every single person's everything is different. So even these little containers that you're like, oh, obviously I'd be able to use this. Not technically, because sometimes it's 12 inches deep. Sometimes it's 16 inches deep. You never know what you're going to need until you're in there. So there's kind of two ways that this works. With me, the way that I teach sessions, there's the option of if you were to go in, and this is also why the consultation is so important, is because during that consultation, if I go in and let's say it's a kitchen and they're like, I only want to do one session, I don't really want to declutter, but I would like it organized, then that is when at the consultation, I would go ahead and measure and go ahead and plan as best I could and maybe throw in a few extra bins. Send them the Amazon links because I do not do the shopping. Because if you do the shopping, you have to have a sales tax ID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it adds a whole different layer where when you go to the store, you don't pay the sales tax. Your tax professional helps you keep up with how much tax you will then pay. Then you owe the IRS the tax for those products that you have now charged your client the tax for.
Okay. That's good information.
So for me, that made it way too annoying and too complicated to try to be like, oh, I'm going to go buy products and then figure out this. No, thank you. I want to keep this simple. So for me, I mainly send links like Amazon links or that kind of stuff. And so with Amazon, normally within 2 to 3 days, it can get there. And I've gotten to where on Amazon, like you'll learn which products you kind of trust, or you can look at reviews and look at the videos to see, like, is this a good quality product? Because it also matters budget, right? Like you have to ask them about budget. You've got to ask them, are they okay with clear? Do they prefer wire? Do they want wood? Those types of things.
Right.
And so once you have all that information at the consultation, if they were only wanting the one session, then you could go home, take your measurements, do the research, send them the links to purchase. Then you would take, because if in your client agreement, you have, let's say, a $25 shopping fee per hour or whatever you decide that you want to have in your agreement. So if that research at home took you 2 hours, you would then at the next session add the $50 for the research time that you did on top of the session price for that day. But they would have already gotten paid for the links on Amazon and the products would already be there in home.
Okay.
So then when you get there, you open them up, you start using them, but you just make sure to add the shopping time to that day's session, however many hours that one ends up being. So that's one option. The other option is if you walk in and you realize it has to be decluttered before it can be organized. There's only so many hours that we can technically do something. And a lot of times it takes a lot more time to declutter than you would think it does, because you have to go through every single item. If it's a pantry, you got to look for dates. If it's clothes, you got to look through each individual thing and then you got to hang it back up. And so, for instance, I had a client this past Saturday that we did her master closet. We went through, we did the decluttering session, and then I went ahead and all of the things that we were going to be putting on her shelves in bins, I folded them into piles neatly and put them back in the closet, not where they're going to stay, but just on the shelves. So that way she could still, of course, use her closet and it looked pretty for this week. When I got home, I went ahead and ordered the products, researched for the products, sent her the links that afternoon. She went ahead and ordered them. So then when I go back this Saturday, the first thing I'm going to do is get all of those Amazon things out and put those things that we had already decided she was going to keep into the bins the way she wants. And then, because that will probably not be an entire session, but with her, we're also doing her hall closet. So then the second part of this second session is going to be, okay, let's go ahead and declutter the hall closet. And the way I explained this to her during the consultation, because it's always about client expectations, like you want to under promise and over deliver, so to speak. Like you don't ever want to say, oh, I can do this in one session. And then you really can't, because then all of a sudden you couldn't do what you said you could do. I would rather say, with her. She wanted me to do her master closet, her hallway closet, and then her kitchen cabinets. So I told her the closet could take 1 to 2 sessions, and the kitchen normally takes 1 to 2 sessions based on how many bins she wants, how quickly she makes decisions for decluttering, that kind of stuff. So from the get-go, I told her, this is probably going to take minimum 4 sessions, but it might take 5 based on how fast you can decide and how many products you're wanting to put in and how organized you're wanting it to become. Because we're doing 3 spaces, but 2 of those 3 spaces normally take 2 sessions each. So I gave myself that wiggle room of, okay, great. If we get it done, and we could technically even maybe get it done in 4 sessions, but then woohoo, it's not nearly as much as she thought it was going to be.
Right.
But I technically gave myself up till 6 if I had to. I just went ahead and prepared her for that. And it actually went really well because when, I did all the measurements at the consultation, because I'm like, okay, I just need to go and take photos and do the measurements now, because I know once we start working, this is going to be very quick. And so the first session, of course, was decluttering the master closet, which was a big walk-in closet. Then, like I said, putting everything back neatly enough, and then ordering when we got home, sending the Amazon link. Then this coming Saturday, probably the first hour, we'll be putting that stuff into the bins and finishing off the closet. We'll probably end up getting the majority of the hallway decluttered on this second session. Then when I come home, I'll probably send her the Amazon links for those bins. She'll order them. And then our third session will be the same, where we pick back up, we put everything in the bins, and then we move on to the next room.
Okay.
Yeah. So it really is. Yeah. And I tell the clients, I'm like, listen, I want to take this step by step for you. I don't want to overwhelm you with, oh, I've measured every room. I think we might need all of these bins. Let me send you everything at the beginning. Because not only is that going to overwhelm them, that's going to overwhelm me, because I'm not going to know what I need to do. Yeah. And so I tell them, I'm like, listen, I'm here to help relieve the stress. But even while we're working together, I just want to help you. So let's just take it one step at a time. And in that way, neither one of us have to be stressed out. And every time I say that, they're like, oh, yeah, that's great.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. That leads me to another question, because we're talking about the different sessions and under promise, over deliver, that kind of thing. Talk to me about the difference between a session price versus hourly. Like, how did you decide? I know you just do session packages. Why is that a better way for you to do it versus hourly?
Okay. When I first started, everyone I heard the majority of the people that I listened to at the beginning did packages. And my question was always, how many hours do you know that it's going to take? I don't understand. Even still to this day, I can't tell you how many hours it's going to take normally. And because there's so many different factors. Do they want to talk about each individual item for 5 to 10 minutes? Or are they going to be like, that can go, that can stay? Like, it really just depends. And so I tell them that how fast we can do this is based on how quickly you can make decisions. If you would like to talk it out, I'm 100% okay with that. I just need you to know that the more we talk about stuff, the less we might physically get done. But some people need to talk stuff out, and that's okay too, because I want this to help you fully change your lifestyle, not just be like a Band-Aid. So if we need to talk some of this out, then let's do that. But when it comes to estimating your time, very quickly, you're going to realize that your mental and physical capacity is only going to be for so long. But not only yours, the client's capacity is only going to be so much. And for me, what I realized, I do a 3-hour session, but I also go like a mad crazy person and don't even take a sip of water for 3 straight hours. When a lot of my members, when they're starting, I recommend a 4-hour session to give yourself that extra wiggle room where you don't feel so rushed, because you're still learning. And then if you want to go up to a 3-hour, you can. But on the 4-hour session, it's enough time to get quite a bit done. And especially if you are doing a session where the client is working with you. So then you've technically got 2 people working for 4 hours. And so that's technically 8 hours of work. So that could get a ton done in 4 hours. Now, if And I tell them, if we don't get this room finished in that time frame, I'm not going to leave it a chaos mess. I'm going to put it back neatly to where it's livable. And then we're just going to pick up right where we left off at the next session. But it's all about the client expectations from the beginning. And I think for us, we think, oh my gosh, okay, so we're a professional now. We should have all the answers. We should know exactly how long it's going to take. And it's construction worker, right? Like everyone almost jokes, oh, they say it's going to be 4 weeks, but we know it's going to be 8. Like when someone's doing a big project or something, because we know they're going to run into issues. Like they probably that something may happen or get wet or it's going to rain or there's just going to be things that happen.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like that with us. But we think because we have the word professional now, they're like, we should just have the answer and we should just know exactly how to estimate this. And what I've learned is with a lot of clients, as long as we're honest with them of like, listen, and I also kind of use this for myself as I didn't realize I was using it as a marketing tool until later on looking back, but it actually helped sell my services. So when I was able to look someone in the eye and say, I don't believe in getting paid for work that I have not done yet. The way I do it is I do it per session. It's a 3-hour session. The cost of that 3-hour session is $297. If I see that towards the end, oh, if I do 30 minutes to an hour more, we could actually finish this room, then each additional hour is this price. But I always try to stay within that 3 hours, sometimes 3.5. But then at the end of that 3-hour session, I haul off anything that's donation or trash from that day. And then from there, we book the next session. And then at the next session, we'll pick up where we left off. Because I don't want to not only overwhelm me, but I also don't want to overwhelm you as a client. Because most clients, once you're in their house for a 4 hours straight, it can get very overwhelming for them too. Oh. Yeah, they're ready for a break also.
They're like, go home.
Yeah. Give me my space. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think what they like about that, because I tell them, if you call most other organizers that you call, if not most, but a lot of other organizers that you call, they're going to come in, they're going to look and say, okay, this might take 5 sessions. So the total cost for 5 sessions is this. So you owe either half or all up front. Right. But yeah. But for me, I don't want to overwhelm you with even the finances. And so I would rather just take even that part one step at a time. And so when I explain it that way, they're like, oh, I would rather do it that way because each time you come, I know exactly how much money I'm giving you. I know exactly what to expect and how long we're going to do this. And they start to care less about like how much they care how much we got done that day, but it's not so much of did we finish that day or not. All of a sudden it's okay, it's this price, it's this many hours, we get done what we can, and then we'll finish it at the next session if we need to. Also, the other reason I tell them that is because each session, I tell them, if you need to get all of this done within a week, like what is your time frame? If you need to get it done in a week, then let's book back-to-back sessions because I know it may take a couple. But if you don't, and maybe it's more that money's an issue, then let's do 1 session per paycheck until we get everything done that you're wanting to get done. So we can do it as close together or as spread out as you need based on your finances and emotionally and your calendar, all of those types of things. And so I think when you explain it that way, all of a sudden you've made it about them and trying to build your business as easy for them to understand to where then they're just like, oh, okay, this is how she does it. I either take it or leave it kind of thing.
Okay.
Hey friend, do you ever find yourself stuck, unsure of your next steps, but you know you are ready to turn your passion for organization into a thriving business? Well, then look no further. My 8-week one-on-one coaching program is your roadmap to success. I will personally be by your side week by week, offering you the expertise and support that you need to launch your very own organizing business. The benefits that you can expect from my program: 1, you will get personalized guidance that fits your unique business goals and challenges. 2, expert insights. You can tap into my industry experience and knowledge for confident decision making. 3, business strategy. You will learn proven marketing, client acquisition, and growth strategies. 4, accountability. You will stay motivated with regular check-ins and progress assessments. And 5, weekly homework so you know what the next steps are that you need to take to grow your business. While our membership focuses on group coaching, this is your chance for exclusive one-on-one sessions, ensuring personalized attention as you launch your business. Are you ready to invest in your future? For just $697 or 2 easy payments of $397, you will unlock 8 hours of personalized coaching. Imagine stepping out on the other side with your business primed and your first clients in tow. The value speaks for itself. If this isn't an investment that pays off, I don't know what is. Email me at proorganizerscoach@gmail.com or click the link in the show notes. Do not hesitate. Secure your spot now and let's make your business dreams a reality.
And do you find that most of your clients pay by credit card? Do you have the Square thing that you swipe, or do they like Venmo you, or
all of the above? So I have,
okay. So I need to get
I've
Square,
got,
I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Square's definitely, because if they're going to put it on a credit card, it's going to be Square that they're going to use.
Okay.
And you could either get the little swiper thing, or Square now has it where you just pop it into your phone and you send them a payment link to their phone, and then they tap it and then they put in their information. So either way is fine on Square.
Okay.
I do Square, I have Venmo, I have Cash App, I take cash or check. But I also have in my agreement that standard gets a $35 fee if your check bounces or whatever. I've never had someone actually a check bounce, but in my area, a lot of elderly people still use checks. And so I wanted to give that as an option to them. At first, I wasn't even going to take checks because I'm like, how do I even know if this is going to clear?
I know. But the older people do use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have, is your Venmo, is all of that set up in your business name?
Yeah, I would. So like whatever email you have for your business email, that is what you're going to use. And the name of your business is what you're going to use. Now, when it comes to Venmo, you can put the name of your business, but then of course your name, because for tax purposes, it's essentially the same thing because you're a solopreneur. Your tax ID, quote unquote, your EIN is technically you, like it's your social. You don't even have to have an EIN if you don't have an LLC. Now, if you go the LLC route, then your business entity gets its own tax ID number, but you will have to have that ID number for Venmo because they have to turn it in to the IRS now if it's over $600 for the year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And anything like that you do, the Venmo, the Square, just making sure that if you have a personal Venmo, don't ever use that one for your business fees and vice versa. Just keep them fully separate. And then that way, come tax time, nothing's overlapping. Like no banking, no money, nothing's overlapping. You want everything 100, like a Chinese wall in between all of your personal stuff and then all of your. And then technically, while we're on that topic, if someone were to pay you in cash, the way that I understand it is there's 2 options. One, you can either go just keep a ledger yourself of about how much each time someone pays you cash throughout the year, turn that into your tax professional at the end of the year. The other way, my tax guy said the easiest way to do is to go take that cash and just deposit it into your checking bank account, because then it's going to show as a deposit. So then all of a sudden it becomes part of your ecosystem on like QuickBooks. And then you're not even having to worry about keeping up with the separate ledger or anything along those lines.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's a step ahead of me right now.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, I got you. And in the membership, like I promise, like I've got you as you're coaching and as we go through this, like I will 100% remind you when we get there. Just for the podcast purposes. I just wanted to make sure to say that.
No, I have insurance. I have a name. I'm about to have a website and business cards and all that. And then she stops right there. But we're trucking along.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And QuickBooks is 100% after you're actually like working and fully getting like payments and stuff. So that's later. That's after the Venmo and all that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So you're good.
First. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Good. And then as far as invoicing goes, so when they pay you at the end of the session, do you have an invoice then? Do you mail it to them? What? And
So
how does all that work?
if they use Square sends them a receipt.
Okay.
I've had a few clients that have asked for an invoice that I just put a letter, like my logo on a letterhead, and literally send them like a piece of paper after they've paid me for so many sessions. If they're looking for like an invoice, the reason most businesses invoice is because they've not been paid yet. Oh, okay. So we're doing all of this work and you've paid this amount, but you still owe this amount. And here's a list of what we're still doing. When you break it down into sessions and you're getting paid each time you're there, no one even thinks to ask for an invoice. And all of a sudden that doesn't even have to, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Because to them, they're just like, okay, you're here for these 4 hours. I'm paying you this amount. And and then if they need a receipt, you could always have one of those little receipt books that you write out a receipt, or you could email them literally a little like letterhead email of all of the amount. But a lot of professional organizing normally is not a tax write-off for anything. Now, if you were to, I have heard of situations where if you're in an area that gets flooded a lot, or like you're looking in it's like insurance companies that are maybe paying you or you're giving a quote to, then that gets into a little bit of a different scenario. Or if you're working with businesses where you're organizing for them. But if specifically just people in their homes, one-on-one, like decluttering and organizing, they normally don't even ask for one. But if they did, you could easily online create one.
Yeah.
Or ask them to pay through Square so they get a receipt that way.
I think I'm just overthinking this. I'm thinking about now all of the little details. Like I've got a lot of this up and running. I think I've got, like I said, I'm getting all the website, all the branding stuff done tonight. And I went to a local business club meeting this morning, of like small business owners that's in my community. And that was really cool just to meet a bunch of entrepreneurs and people who have been there, done that. They're on down the road in different businesses. And I'm just doing things. Like I said, got the insurance in place. It's just actually now I feel like I've got to have my website up. I've got to get the banking stuff dealt with, and then really go.
Google's the other thing that you definitely want to make sure to get on Google My Business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Google My Business. Okay.
Yep. And so,
down.
Yep. You want to, and I think I still have a workshop inside of the membership if you go back to the replays of how to set that up. But even if I don't, like in the app, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but the way that we can message each other or even on Messenger, like if you ever get stuck, part of a perk of being in the membership is send me a message like on Messenger and be like, oh my gosh, so I'm stuck right here. What's the answer essentially? And because what I found, and the reason I started the membership was because that's what I needed when I was starting. Like I get stuck on these one little thing and it's what's the one answer, not 50 answers from all these people on Facebook that don't know me, but what's the one simple answer that can just get me over this hump and keep me moving. And in the app, there's the group chat. And of course, those girls will start to get to know you too. And so they could have good advice. But then you can also always reach out to me too. And I'm more than happy to answer a quick question or whatever as part of being part of the membership. Because I want that to be like a perk of being in the membership.
Yes, and it is. And definitely you're a wealth of knowledge. And I so appreciate it because I still feel like I'm just feeling very chicken right now about jumping. And I keep trying to think, when am I I set my insurance to start like mid-October, I think. I was like, that'll give me a little bit of time to get all these last little things in a row. And then I can hopefully start. I have no trouble talking to people. So I have no doubt, I'll be telling everybody what I'm doing and here's a card, have a card, you get a card. But other than that, I don't know. I'm not amazing at social media because I took off for a while. I don't love it, but it is definitely a necessary evil in this one for sure. So I'll get an account set up. I'll do all that. But
remember to look at your social media as your portfolio. It is not about like when you are a service-based business, it's not about, oh, I have to post every Monday on Monday, every single week. No, that's when you're an online business because you have to stay in front of people. When you're a service-based business, if you can literally take the pressure off yourself, especially at first, and just look at it as this is my portfolio. This is what I want people to see when they look me up, so they can see the work that I've done. So they can see like what's going on with me right now. Like anytime inspiration strikes, do a quick little post and then just move on with your day. Like it does not have to be this super complicated, stressful, horrible thing that like, because then we get stuck and don't do anything, right? Like, or we spend all day just being like,
yes.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble right now. It's like I can't see the forest for the trees because I'm just overwhelmed. But every time I think, okay, I'm almost ready, I've almost got this, I look at a Facebook post or I hear a podcast and I go, oh, wait, I'm light years behind. I've got so far to go. And I don't really think I do. But that's where that fear strikes. And I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this at all. What am I thinking?
Right. Well, and like you said, you can talk to people, you know how to declutter. Having kind of the membership app and me in your back pocket of knowing if you get stuck somewhere, okay, I can ask a quick question and then I can just move on. But knowing and choosing to just take the very next step. And that's why the group coaching sessions are so good, is because every Tuesday you can come in and be like, okay, guys, so I've gotten this and this done. What is my one next step for this next week? Or maybe 2 next steps? Not what are the next 15? What are the next 2 that I could be working on this week?
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, you'll have it to where you're like, oh, yeah, I got this.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I didn't do the coaching session that was yesterday because I thought I knew it was like a let's work on our business kind of thing together. And I was like, I don't think I really have anything to do because I don't have anything to do. But that is a good point that I could have said, hey, what's my next step?
Yeah. And honestly, what's so funny is our co-working session last night turned into all 10 of us talking, and it ended up being a group coaching session.
That is so funny. I shouldn't have showed up.
Yeah. Because there were so many people there. Instead of everyone like working on their own stuff, which ideally that's what we would do. It was just one of those times. And I'm the type that I'm going to free flow anyways. And so if what people need is more to talk stuff out, then let's talk it out. If that's what you're needing right now, more so than working on something. And so it ended up being that, and I'll post the replay so you can listen to it. But even if it is a co-working session, I don't care what it's titled. The only time that like it's you technically shouldn't probably ask about your own little stuff necessarily is maybe a workshop if it's on a specific topic and someone else is guest workshopping it. But any other time, by all means, be like, listen, I know this is a co-working session, but I need this today. Like somebody need the answer to this. Yeah. That's the point of it. I want it's a sisterhood. It's a community. It's people. Like we have one member who her daughter always likes to jump on and be like, hey, she's 4. And she says hi to us and gets excited. And so I want it to be like helpful, but still somewhat informal and be like exciting to show up to, not stressful. I do not want it to be this like super formal, oh, I have to have this and this to even show up, or no. I want it to just be like, hey, even if I can only jump on for 15 minutes and ask a quick question, hey guys, can I go first today? Because I can't stay the whole time, but I really need to know the answer to this question. Like 100% okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good to know. Thanks for clearing that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not mature enough in my business yet to show up tonight. So I just bailed. But I'll definitely listen to the replay on that.
Yeah. And listen, all of us get there, right? Like especially the people I work with one-on-one. Like one of my most recent girls that I'm working with one-on-one coaching right now. The first time we met, I gave her the list of stuff to like get done for your business. And that is like the goal for like essentially the whole 8 sessions of coaching. And she's okay, when we meet in 2 weeks for our second session, I'll have all this done. And I was like, hold on. No, we are not setting ourselves up for failure. I do not want you to be... Right, you're right. And I was like, I just don't want you to be disappointed in yourself if you don't have everything figured out in 2 weeks. Because we're such type A's that we're like, okay, just give me a list and I'll get it done.
Yep, check those boxes. I love checking boxes.
Yeah, but some of this stuff just takes time. Like it just does. And so that's why I've set up the one-on-one coaching, is because it normally takes about 8 weeks minimum, if not more, 10 to 12 weeks based on how quick you can get certain things done. Because sometimes it's not even based on us. Sometimes it's based on like how quick Google responds and verifies our verification, or how quick. There's all these other factors that we have no control over. But what you said earlier about you've gotten yourself far enough that you could go ahead and start working with clients. That's the point where you want to be at. And then in the background, on the days that you don't have clients, that's when you can keep working on these other things. But at whatever point that you are like, okay, I can handle some clients, like I'm excited, let's go ahead. Like that part, you can always figure out the rest later. Like we just got to get your payment system in order. But even if your first few clients, you had to tell them, hey, I'm still new to this business. I'm just getting started, which I know sounds scary to say, but people are actually more lenient with you when you say those things because they're like, oh, she's being honest. They appreciate honesty.
Yeah.
And so when you say those things, and even if you're like, that's also why I'm a little bit cheaper right now because my prices will be raising. So then they feel like they're getting value for you. But when we're honest with them that way, and even if you had to say to them, listen, right now I can only take cash or check because I'm still in the process of setting up Square. Or go ahead, set up your Square, and then all of a sudden, you're like, listen, I only take cash, check, or card through Square. You can do that. You don't have to take Venmo and all these other things just yet. As long as you've got at least a couple options set up so you can get paid, then start working with clients because you've got the other stuff going.
And definitely have a separate business banking account.
Oh, yeah. Everything, 100%. Okay. So listen, it does not have
everything gets into that.
Yeah. From the way I understand it, it does not have to be 100% a business bank account. I have heard horror stories of people who have gone to get a business bank account and it has taken months to set up a business bank account because it's technically a business bank account. The way my place did it, and I'm sure even if your own home bank doesn't do this, you could probably find a bank that does. The way they did it was they literally just put on there, Samantha Brown, DBA for doing business as, love, laugh, organize. And I just literally set up a checkings with a savings that is part of my regular checking and savings. Like when I pull up my app for my bank, it has my personal account and then it has my business account on the same app, which made things a lot easier. So if your own bank can do it, it makes it a lot easier when you go to do your banking and pay yourself and that kind of stuff. But you definitely want to have a checkings with a savings. And it's just about it being separate. It's not about the fact that it has to be like a business bank account. It just has to be a separate checkings and savings that is only used for business. Okay. And then they could just put in the notes that it's for your business, like whatever. Okay. And then the reason you want the savings is that is where you're going to transfer your tax money. So each time that you have something come into checkings, let's say you got paid $200 for a session and you've decided that you would like to put 25% back for taxes, then $50 goes into your savings for tax time. And then that $150, that is what you would then pay yourself with into your personal account. Okay. And then later on, that's when we would set up QuickBooks and help you set all that stuff up, which is so not as scary as it sounds, I promise.
I'm going to just put that one to bed for a little bit because I think that's tripping me up too is all the technical financial stuff. So I think what you're saying now, I can handle this bank account thing and the Venmo thing and all that. That's clear. That's all good. It's when you start getting into the QuickBooks and the tax stuff. We'll think about that later.
Okay, perfect.
Just keep me on track for this.
Yes, for right now, just do this till you get some clients. And then after you get clients, I've got a replay of a QuickBooks workshop in the membership. And then I can also help you whatever we need to do. But for now, just getting the Square and getting the regular bank and checking set up and then start trying to get you some business.
Okay. Yes. I got to find Matt now.
Yeah. Get the business. Yes. Yep. Oh my gosh. It was so good. Do you have any last minute questions before we hop off here?
I don't think I do. I think you've answered everything. I've been so helpful. Thank you.
Oh yeah. You were so welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I will see you Tuesday inside of the membership.
Yes, ma'am. I'll see you then. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. If you've gotten any value from today's episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us grow, and it warms my heart to hear from you. And make sure to stay connected with us on socials at Pro Organizers Coach. Then go to proorganizerscoach.com to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. You have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. Keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections within our organizing community. Progress will come with every step, so keep pushing forward and you will achieve your dreams. Girl, you've got this.